Hi everyone, this is Gary and we're going to look at layer masks. Specifically, we're going to create the image that you're seeing now from these three images. This one, and this one. So it's relatively easy. Let's just get started and we'll finish this up right quick. So I'm going to use this as my base image and I'm going to add the other two to it. And the way I'm going to do that is by simply grabbing my move tool over in the toolbox, clicking on the tab for this image and dragging it up onto the original image and hold down the shift key. Holding down the shift key adds that image inside the frame exactly the way it was before. Each one of these frames is exactly the same size. So this locates the image exactly where I want it. And then I'll go to the other image and again using my move tool drag up to the first images tab, drag down into the image, hold down the shift key and let go. Now all three images are in one document on their own layer. So I'm going to call this layer, the second layer, me-2 because after all it is me. Then I'll go to the third layer and call that me-3. Okay, so basically I'm going to add a layer mask to these top two layers. So up here there's a add layer mask icon, and if you're in elements 9 or 10 that's going to be on the bottom of the layers panel in the same spot horizontally, third icon in, but in 11 it's up on top of the layers panel. You simply click it, that creates a layer mask. Okay, now I'll click on the middle layer and do the same thing. Now I've created two layer masks. However, I want to fill both of these layer masks with black. That will conceal what's on that layer. So basically, if I go to Edit, Fill Layer, use on Contents, use black, opacity 100%, hit OK. This layer now has a layer mask filled completely with black, therefore concealing the entire layer. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom, the middle layer, making sure that I'm clicking on the layer mask. I want to make sure you understand that you can select two elements of a layer. You can select the image itself, or if there's a layer mask on it, you can select the layer mask to make it active. Make sure that you click on the layer mask to make it active. I'm going to do the same thing. Go up to Edit, Fill Layer, use black, opacity 100%, and hit OK. Okay, so now both of these layer masks are black, concealing the two layers completely. So now I'm left with the bottom image only that's visible. All right, so this is pretty easy. I'll start with the top layer, me-3, and I'm going to grab a brush. Over here in the toolbox, brush. Now, you've got three separate brushes. Make sure you choose the plain vanilla brush. You don't want the impressionist brush or the color replacement tool. You want the plain old brush. So down here on my toolbox, my foreground color is black. I want to make it white, so I hit this right angle arrow key, or I could hit the X key on my keyboard. Either way, it reverses the order of the two colors. So now I have white. So I know that on this top image, this top layer, I'm located on the left. Watch what happens when I start painting with white. Well, I'm revealing the me that's on that layer because I concealed it by making the layer mask black, and now I'm painting on that layer mask with white, and as you know, the saying is white reveals, black conceals. So I'm working from from left to right because there's some complications here on this. It's a little complicated getting the last, say, 10%. And that's because I have a shadow. You can see my shadow and it comes up over here. So it's going to be a little complicated. I mean, I could try and paint it in, getting real close to, the shape of me that's on the bottom layer, but that's going to take too long. So I'm going to make a selection of me. All right. I'm going to click on the bottom layer because I want the selection to come from the bottom layer. I'm going to choose the quick selection tool and simply click on my shoulder, get it down into my arm, and get it over on this arm of the chair and then up into my head. So now I have a selection that's got my head, my shoulder, and the arm of the chair. And that's all I actually really need. I suppose I can add my leg, but I don't actually have to do that. Okay, that's pretty good. However, I'm going to go to, in the options panel at the bottom, there's the refine edge button in elements 9 or 10. The refine edge button should be on the options bar at the top. However, if it's not there, you can always get to the refine edge command under the select menu. Refine edge. That allows me to look at my selection in different ways. So I can see that it's pretty jaggedy. So I'm going to take my smooth slider and move it to the right. So the number here is, well, I actually wanted 3. All right, and then I'm going to feather the edge by about 0.5, and I'm going to manually edit that from my keyboard. So I've smoothed to the number 3 and feathered to 0.5 pixel radius. And then output to selection, I'm going to hit OK. Now I've got a better edge. Now watch how easy this is. I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to go back up to the top layer, click on the layer mask for that layer, making sure that the layer mask is active, not the image, but the layer mask. Now I've got the selection here, but it's actually the reverse of what I want. So I'm going to go up to select inverse. Now everything but the original selection that I made is selected, and that works great because what I'm going to do next, now if I paint with a brush with white, I should get a little better edge. Actually, I'm going to go over it. If I go over it twice, it seems to work a little better. All right, that's good. Let me come down here. Okay. Kind of revealing a little bit of the arm, the chair that wasn't there originally, but that's okay. Oh, look at that. So this might look a little bizarre. I may have to do a little finagling with that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, because I was leaning back in the chair. The position of the chair changed. But maybe I can make this work. All right, I'm going to deselect. Okay, you know what? I can live with that. But I'm just going to sort of go over here and erase that edge and sort of blend the two together a little better. Whoops, I went too far. So I'll make my brush a little smaller. See if I can blend them together so it's not so noticeable. Okay, that looks pretty good, actually. I can live with that. All right. Let's see what we have. Great. Yeah, that looks really good. So, same deal with the middle layer. I'm going to select its layer mask, which is now completely filled with black. I'm going to use a rather large brush and paint with white. And I'm going to work my way this time right to left because I have kind of the same problem, you know, because of the shadow that the middle me created. So, all right, I'm not going to waste too much time on this. I'm just going to get right down to business. So I want to make a selection of the right me. So I'm going to click on the quick selection tool, click on my head, click on my shoulder, go down, get the leg. And let's see if that selection is any good. Yeah, okay. That's a pretty, whoops. That's a pretty good selection. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just basically it's the head and the this shoulder that matter. So once again, refine edge. Okay, I'm just gonna smooth to 3. This smooths it right out. I'm gonna feather to 0.5. And then, just like before, let me zoom out. I'm gonna invert the selection, select inverse. Now I'm going to go grab the brush again. And this time, instead of painting with white, because I'm on the second layer, I'm going to be painting with, with black, concealing that area that was revealed on the second layer. Okay, see how the shadow, I got to get that shadow back a little bit without it looking too weird. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so now I've got the inverted selection. I'm going to go to select Refine Edge, and I want this white area to come in on the black area, so I'm going to go Shift Edge, and I'm going to shift the edge inward by about +6. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to take a brush and paint with black. And I'm going to go over it twice because actually that seems to help. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now I got to be kind of careful around my lens area. Okay, so you can see I have to get that shadow that is being thrown by the middle me. And then, all right, this is kind of weird here, this lens. So I'm going to make my foreground color white, and I'm going to actually sort of fake draw a lens in there. And I think I went too far, so I'm going to make my foreground color black. And sort of fake a lens. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, I'm going to actually invert the selection again. Select Inverse, and now I'm going to paint with white, making my brush bigger, because I want to get this shoulder, inside the shoulder and arm, and then the rest of my jeans here. So I'm painting with white to reveal the me that's on this layer, specifically the jeans. And there we go. That's it. Let me deselect by going Command or Control D. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let me zoom out. All right, one last thing. I want to get rid of this area here and this area here. And to do that, I'm going to create a new layer by clicking on this Add New Layer icon. And I'm going to rename it Clone. I'm going to take the Clone Stamp tool, and I'm going to make sure that Sample All Layers is checked down here in the Options panel or the Options bar if you're in 9 or 10. And then I'm going to Option click right here, and then just clone that material in to cover up that big. All right. And then go right here and paint, and then come here. Just trying to refine this a little bit. Okay. Okay, cool. Now this is going to be a little more difficult because of the shadow here. So I'm going to click right here and just extend that over like, there we go. Good enough. Not perfect. Good enough. Okay, then bring that down. Then come over here and bring that down. Now I'm going to grab this shadow and sort of pull that down. Then click, Alt-click here and keep. Now I can just sort of copy the shadow. Make the brush a little smaller. Alt-click, come down. All right, I'm done. There we go. See you next time.